So I bought an Xbox One. So last weekend I made the decision to finally buy an Xbox One. I kind of wanted one for a while, but I held back because there's only a handful of games that I actually wanted for it. I didn't want to buy a $300 console just to play a few games. And by the way, if it seems like I'm reading as I talk to the camera, that's because I am kind of a little bit. I got a lot to go over and I want to make sure I get everything. But anyway, I didn't want to spend $300 on a console just to play a few games. That is until I read about the current spring bundle, which we have right here. And as you can see, it comes with a lot of games. So I checked my local GameStop and they had one in stock. I decided to go down and buy it. So what it comes with is Gears of War Ultimate, Rare Replay, Ori and the Blind Forest as a digital code, and then Halo 5 as well. And as you can see right here, so Halo 5 and Gears of War and Rare Replay all come as physical discs, which is awesome. I've been wanting to play through Halo 5 because I do enjoy the series. I got into it a little late, which I'll get into later, but I do enjoy that series. And Gears of War, Gears of War was a huge system seller, almost as much as Halo was back in the day for the 360. So I wanted to get the ultimate version of that. It's just a prettier version of the older 360 game, but it's still good. Excuse me. I also wanted to play Forza 6 because I have Forza 6, Apex on the PC, which is pretty good, but it's slightly different than the Xbox game. As well as I got a physical copy of Rise. I got Rise on the PC, a year ago, and I did a full review on Rise, which you can actually read on my website, thedailygoatshow.com. But I wanted a physical copy of it because Rise for the PC I could only find digitally through Steam. So I got that as well. And I picked up most of those other games for less than $50 through Amazon. So for about $350, I got all of this. So really not a bad deal. And in fact, everything sounds good, right? And yeah, it is. But the next part is where I get to understand why I bought a PlayStation 4 at launch instead of Microsoft's offering, and why I think Sony seems to kind of get it when it comes to gaming in general. And Microsoft, there seems to be a disconnect in there with Microsoft as far as offering a gaming system. So first off, I hooked up the system when I opened it up, and I performed a massive operating system update, which is no big deal. That's expected nowadays. I'm not really worried about that. But here's what I did not expect. I popped in Halo 5, and I got a notification that it needed an update. Cool, but it's a 35 gig update. So I was like, okay, I guess that's all right. So I get the update going, I eject the disk, and I pop in Gears. I'm like, okay, while we download the update for Halo, I'll pop in Gears, and if there's any updates for that, I'll get that going at the same time. But that is when I learned that the Xbox counts that update as part of the overall install process, and you have to have that disk installed in the system in order for it to do the update and install. And I was like, really? Okay. So I pop Halo back in, and I wait hours to do the install. I figure, Gears of War I've played, Halo 5 I haven't played yet, so I'll put that in and I'll do the install. Let's say I think I started the install around 11:30, and this is last Sunday, and it finally installed around 5 p.m., which part of that was my internet connection to blame, downloading 35 gigs on an 18 megabit per second download. I remember that's megabits, not megabytes. 18 megabit per second download is incredibly slow. Part of that's to blame. But the next day, so last Monday, I actually switched over to another internet provider and I have up to 75 megabits per second download, which eased the install of some of these other games, but that's still a massive download, and it's still a long time. You have to install these individually, and you have to do a full install on these before you can play the game, which is something I was not expecting. On the PlayStation 4, you pop the disc in, little white line goes across, and in a matter of seconds, you're ready to play the game. And you can download the update for it while you play other games. So when I buy, let's say I go to the store and I buy 3 PlayStation 4 games. I pop it in, get the download going, pop it out. Pop the next one in, get the download going, pop it out. Pop the third one in, get the update going, pop it out. And then as the updates for all those games are downloading simultaneously, something you apparently can't do with these, I can play one of those games, and I can play it without having the download, the new update installed. It'll say, hey, do you want to play it with the update or without? I say without the update, which typically means you can't go online and play the game, which I play mainly single player games anyway, so it's not a big deal. You can't do that with these. which is something that bugged me. Something else that bugged me is the dashboard. Holy shit, there's a lot going on the Xbox One's dashboard. You got icons, ads, notifications everywhere. It is not very straightforward. You know, I'm used to the PlayStation 4, which is very basic and very classy to look at, and it's easy to use. I remember putting Halo 5 back in after it installed. Actually, I put it back in, it installed. I remember trying to start the game, and I just kind of sat there going, okay, where the hell is the game? Nothing popped up, no icon appeared. I finally found where to go and play the game, but as a game console, you know, it should be front and center, and it's not until you quit out of a game that it finally has this giant image of saying, hey, here's the game you want to play. That's just kind of weird. I also couldn't figure out how to record gameplay or screenshots efficiently. Everything that I read to say, yell at Kinect, you know, Xbox record, or whatever. I don't have Kinect for this, I don't want Kinect for this. So for me, you gotta hold down, or you gotta double tap this, I believe, side load the DVR application that's not running by default, and then whenever you want to record something, open up the DVR application and then record, you know, the previous 5 minutes or a screenshot, whatever you want. That's not very efficient. You know, on the PlayStation 4, you can set it so the share button on the controller, you tap the share button, it shoots a screenshot. You hold it down, and then you can record up to 15 minutes of gameplay, and you can select, I think it's 5, 10, or 15 minutes of gameplay. Obviously, you configure that ahead of time, but I always have it to record the past 15 minutes. That way I make sure I have everything that I want. So, you know, anything that I recorded off of the Xbox, in fact, all the clips and stuff that you'll be watching from the Xbox, that was all recorded using my Elgato capture device, whereas on my PS4, about 95% of all the footage I have on the PS4 for all throughout my videos on the channel, that's all recorded straight off of the PS4, its own, you know, DVR system, because it's so much easier to use. So we got a lack of an intuitive interface, we got one at a time updates, and no efficient way to record. So far, it was not looking good for the Xbox One, and I was thinking, why the hell did I buy this? But then I actually played Halo 5. And after about 3 hours, I found I really enjoyed myself. I didn't like the Halo franchise way back when. In fact, you know, I also bought the Master Chief Collection and I'm currently in the middle of replaying Halo 1, or Halo Combat Evolved in the Master Chief Collection, and it kind of reaffirms the fact why I didn't like Halo early on. I don't think the first Halo's a good game. Now, granted, if I were to go back in time and buy an original Xbox on launch, and buy Halo Combat Evolved and play it back then, I would probably be blown away. I'd probably have a Master Chief shirt on, a Halo hat, everything would be good to go. Light just went out. I still don't think the first Halo is a very good game. You'll disagree with me, I get it. There'll be plenty of people that disagree with me on that. What did it for me is, you got the level 343 Guilty Spark, which then goes into the library level. These are 2 levels which are just exercises in frustration and patience, I feel. Halo 2 on, I really enjoy the franchise. Really like everything from Halo 2 on, with ODST, as I've mentioned before, being my favorite. But the first Halo game, I'm playing it through because it's finally got achievements, and I want to get those achievements. Actually, Anniversary Edition had them too, which I played through. So I'm playing through it for like the 3rd or 4th time, and it's just not a big fan of it. But anyway, I'm sidetracking. Halo 5, really good. Really, really enjoyed it. In fact, it brought a whole thing of nostalgia to me because, granted, you know, I didn't play these games on release. I don't think I played Halo Reach and Halo 4 I played on release, but the other ones I never played on release, but I still played every single one in one sitting. I would wake up early, I would sit down and play through the entire game. So there's still a bit of that nostalgia factor setting in with Halo 5. Really, really good game. You know, we all know that the PlayStation 4 is kind of the more powerful system between the two, but Halo 5 is definitely well optimized, and it shows. It feels good to play, and it looks good. There's a few areas that stuttered. They had pop-in and could have benefited from a bit more available power. You know, playing on a 51-inch TV, I could definitely tell that the game was upscaled from a lower native resolution, but it didn't really bother me. I'd say the controller is good, not great. I appreciate the much improved D-pad, but why on earth did Microsoft not make them with a rechargeable battery? Like, is it so we can just buy that from them extra? Is like they're trying to make money on accessories? You know, I don't get it. It's got a USB port, which you got right here. Well, no, USB port. This is a third-party system, by the way. USB port there for the charger. Just include a rechargeable battery. You know, PlayStation, you buy a DualShock controller, it's rechargeable. Yeah, the battery's internal, and if it dies, you know, typically you're gonna have to go buy a new controller, but I've had those since, I've had 2 controllers pretty much since launch. They both hold a charge just fine. This one should have had a rechargeable battery with it. It's a bad move. I did buy rechargeable batteries for it, but I went third party just out of pure piss and vinegar spite for the fact that they didn't include it. Microsoft wasn't getting my money for their system. I do like how the console looks, however. It is a much better looking console than the PlayStation 4. It's classy, it's simple. I also enjoy having a new console with a new library of exclusives. It was fun playing through Halo 5 and letting the game take me in. I've been plowing through my library of PlayStation 4 games, and it's refreshing to play on a new console. It's nice having selection, and I have so many unfinished games on the PlayStation 4 that it almost feels like work trying to complete them, whereas the Xbox, brand new console, I only have a few games for it, and none of them are 50+ hour role-playing games like I have on the PS4. But so far, I've fostered a love-hate relationship with the console. Starting a new game is something that I have to plan in advance due to the insane load time. So this morning I had about 7 hours before I had to do anything. So I took that time to install the rest of the games while I did some stuff around the house, i.e. watch YouTube. It nearly took all that time, but at least they're all ready to go for me now. But all said, I'm happy I got the system. I'm surprised the issues are still issues this far into the console's life, but the exclusives seem to make up for it. While I prefer the PS4 as a system, Microsoft has a fairly strong lineup of exclusive games which make the price of entry and the headache of living with this system a fairly small price to pay for some genuinely good games. And speaking of those games, here are the ones that I picked up. So as you guys know, when I buy a game, I always get at least 5 games to go with it. Most of them were already taken care of with, with Halo 5, and then Gears of War Rare Replay, and then of course a digital code for Ori and the Blind Forest. As mentioned, I also picked up Master Chief Collection, Forza 6, Killer Instinct, Rise, and Sunset Overdrive, which I don't have any footage for this. As I've been talking, the footage for the games I've been playing. I don't have any footage on this because I haven't started and played this one yet. But I'm excited to get in there. It doesn't sound like the type of game I would normally play, and I'm kind of burnt out on open world games at this moment. But I'm still going to play it. Once I get through Master Chief Collection and through Gears, I'll probably play that. I've already played through Halo 5, Rise, most of Forza 6, and a lot of Killer Instinct. So I'm going to play through Gears, and then I'm going to start this, and everything should be good. But like I said, so far, definitely have a love-hate relationship with this thing. Great system as far as the games that are available for it, but the system itself, a little bit of a bitch to live with, especially compared to the PS4. Had I never gotten a PS4, I probably wouldn't care. But since I'm used to that and used to how clean and easy it is to use, Xbox is a little bit of a beast to overcome, but the games are good. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give me a like if you liked it. If you disliked it, hey, that's cool too. I get it. But you know, leave a comment, share the video if you think some other people like it. Man, I hate doing this stuff. It's like a commercial at the end of the video. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good day.